welcome again. My name is Julian. I'm a BI consultant here at Scalefree. And yeah, we run this session basically every Friday, 11 a.m. Central European time. And in this session, we're gonna answer your questions. So especially about the data vault, of course, but also about big data, any kind of data-driven topics, basically. So if you have any questions, you can submit those in advance via a form or directly here in the chat. So we received one question. It's about hash diff calculation, basically. So it's the following. Our source system is delivering new columns for existing tables from time to time. When we add new columns to existing satellites, we load new deltas for every business key in the next load, as the hash difference is now calculated differently. Is there any possibility to avoid manual recalculation? So manual recalculation means basically to change the existing hash diff or the hash diff for existing objects or records in the satellite. And yeah, that's a common issue in many projects. I would say in almost all projects, as a source system are not static. The structure is frequently changing. And the short answer basically is yes. So it's possible to reduce the manual effort to nearly zero, or to zero, actually. So yeah, let's have a look into it. As always, there are multiple possible solutions, right? So first of all, data vault is able to react on changes in the source system very easily. There is a possibility to create new objects only without touching existing ones. So whenever there's a new attribute coming from the source, it would be possible to simply add a new satellite and you're done. But this is often not the desired solution, as you would, of course, end up in a lot of satellites that will blow up your whole data model, right? So you have to find a good balance between creating new satellites and changing existing ones. But now the question is about the hash diff. So you decided to add the new column to an existing satellite instead of creating a new one. I've brought a small example here. Of course, this is a simplified satellite structure. So the hash key, for example, is missing instead of the business key, and record source and so on and so forth. So we have a company satellite or a satellite hanging on the company hub with two records. It's the same business key, basically, Scalefree International. And as you can see, in the 1st December, there was the first entry, and on the 2nd December, the street basically changed. So there's a number is added. So again here, simplified hash diff calculation. There's basically the lower or the replacing of null empty strings, for example, is missing. So I simplified the hash diff calculation here as well. So it would be basically a company name concatenated with a delimiter, concatenated with the street. So now, if we add a new column to the satellite structure, in this case, it's the postal code, right? We add this with this column because the source system never delivered any data with this new column in the past. It is set to null for the two past records. And the new attribute causes a new logic for the hash diff. So basically the new hash diff would be that the postal code is added in the end of the hash diff calculation. And now, as you can see here, the input for row 2 was still the old calculation, basically, and the input of row 3 would be now with a trailing delimiter. But actually, the content of the data does not change. So for whatever reason, just the postal code is not present for this business key. So there's no no difference in the descriptive attributes compared to the second row. From the second row compared to the third row. But still, there's a new entry as the hash diff input changed. The input for the hash function changed. And then without any recalculation of the hash value for existing records, there will be a new delta for every business object. So yeah, you will basically end up in a lot of new records, which won't break your data vaults or your data warehouse, but there are a lot of new unnecessary records and therefore additional storage. So what many projects are doing is to recalculate the hash diff value for existing records. That's a possible solution, but better than doing nothing, but it's a manual effort that you have to perform, right? So you have to update the hash diff value for all existing records, and then basically you're good to go to not load additional records into it. The next idea is to reduce the maintenance overhead of their hash diff by following a simple strategy. So the first idea is to update only the current records in the satellite. They are indicated by having the end of all times value or the load end date timestamp, which is computed by a virtual window function in the best case. And only those records are required for any comparison during this satellite loading. So all end-dated satellite entries have been already replaced by new records and are not required to compare with. So this solution reduces the number of records being updated, but still there are some updates, of course, which can cause an issue for very large tables, and still you have a manual effort. Actually, there's a solution to reduce maintenance to zero by making sure that the hash value remain valid even after structural changes. But there are some requirements to make this happen. So first of all, columns should only be added and not deleted. So deletions are anyway not recommended in data vault to ensure auditability, for example. And all columns are added at the end of the table. So new columns basically, and all columns that are null at the end of the table are not added to the input of the hash function. So with adding a function that removes all trailing delimiters, which is simply a rtrem function in this case here, the hash input becomes the same again, and the hash diff indicates basically no change. This approach works with multiple null values at the end. So here again, you can see the old hash input from row 2 from the 2nd of December, and the new hash input for the row 3, that you have previously seen, is already and again the same because we remove basically this additional delimiter at the end. But note, if you decide to start using this kind of logic in your project for existing satellites, it will still calculate a different hash diff than the ones loaded previously in the satellite. So for existing satellites, you still need to update the hash diff, at least for the active record. So you can use basically the approach that I shared previously. And for newly created satellites, you're good to go with the new logic, and you will never have to worry about the hash diff when loading the columns to the table. So let me read this one question in the chat.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So there was a situation, I'm not sure because I'm not the part of the data ingestion team, but we have identified, like, for example, there is an update on one row.
Yeah.
on the source system, we see there are two entries for the same sequence ID operation, which is 4 after update and CDC emitted it. Okay,
Yeah.
so there are two. I mean, with the same, there you see if you look at the records, there is no difference. Okay,
Yeah.
but I guess it's a pipeline ingestion problem. But we have a lot of data that has been impacted now. Okay, and
So yeah.
so the problem is that I mean, fixing the pipeline and reinitializing and I mean, doing the full load again takes a lot of time. So thought of asking if there is a solution that when you have such kind of scenarios, what would be the best way to solve this problem? Uh, is it like use a window function and group by and or something, and then take any of the number which is any entry? Is it like
Yeah.
that or?
So you basically have hard duplicates, right? So you can't
Yeah,
really distinguish between
exactly,
yeah.
exactly. Uh,
So but you still load basically every row into the CDC satellite, right? And there you're
yeah,
gonna have duplicates with.
exactly,
Okay,
exactly.
yeah. So did you omit the hash diff calculation in CDC satellites?
Yeah, I have the hash diff calculation in the. I
Oh,
did
you
not
have it.
omit.
You
I
still,
did not. I
okay.
have it. Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So what? Yeah. Basically, for hard duplicates, it's essentially the solution is not load basically hard duplicates into satellite, rather than moving this kind of duplicates in an error mart, for example, to
Mm-hmm.
still be auditable, right? So because it's a source delivered duplicates, and if you need to be fully auditable, you have to rebuild the source again, right? So that's what we usually do to load like hard duplicates into error marts, basically. Um, but what you still can do if there's not such a hard duplicate, but more or less intraday changes, you could manipulate the load date timestamp by adding a microsecond, basically
Okay. Mm.
based on the subsequence ID, for example. So you are still have a valid satellite entry. So you don't
Mm-hmm.
have a duplicate in business key or hash key and a load date timestamp combination. So that would be also possible, but that's rather for soft duplicates, or let's say intraday changes. But for hard duplicates, I would just simply move them into an error mart, for example.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or of course, if there's an error in the pipeline, in the ingestion pipeline already, then fix the error there, because the error is not like coming from the source, I assume, rather than in the ingestion pipeline.
Okay. Yeah, my question was answered. Thank you so much.
All right, you're welcome. All right. So yeah,
I
basically,
have
yeah,
one question.
sorry.
The one that you just presented a question and the answer you showed in the presentation. Can you share that part and in the channel or in the Teams? Yeah, the example and the question somebody has posted. Everything. Can you share this presentation slide deck?
Yeah, of course. I can do. Yeah,
Okay.
of
Yeah.
course.
Thank you so much.
No, it's also uploaded in on YouTube. So I'm pretty sure that we gonna upload the slides as well, but I will double check it. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
All right, you're welcome. Okay, then that's it for today. So just one quick note here. So if you're interested in a data vault community, or in a community in general, where you're gonna or where you were able to ask questions about any kind of data-driven topic, feel free to scan this QR code and sign up for the Data Vault Innovators Exchange. Thanks for joining, and I wish you a nice weekend, and hopefully see you next Friday again. Bye bye.